Hi guys, very quick interpretation video. I'm going to try and make it quick. I've made it twice already and I feel like it's too long. Trump will be down at the Mexican border tomorrow. Now, Donald Trump seems to be represented in this video by the George Bush character. George Bush being from Texas, that's where Donald Trump's going to be tomorrow. On his, excuse me, on his eyebrow, there seems to be an L and a 5. L stands for lunar. L is also the 12th letter of the alphabet, so lunar and 12 and the number 5. Looking at the lunar calendar, the 10th of January, today for me, tomorrow for you guys, is the 12th lunar month and the 5th lunar day. Donald Trump's going to be at the border tomorrow, so that seems significant. Why? Because, one, we've got a possible date reference, lunar 5, which could correspond to January the 10th. We've got on the other eyebrow an image of a figure lying on his back, which appears to be Donald Trump, just from the way that the hair is drawn. On the back of this George Bush character, who represents Donald Trump's head, is the name Jose or Jesus, both South American names to do with, South America, and everything that has been going on at the moment with the shutdown has been to do with migration and a border across Mexico. So those names would be well connected to this. On the chalkboard just behind him, we have the shark, which is covering what looks like a gun. So there's a gun behind Donald Trump's head with L5 on the eyebrow. So keep an eye out for that. Not only that, but behind him is the board. The board is on the wall. Board, wall, border wall. So there may be a connection there. Border wall, Jose Jesus, lunar 5, January the 10th, assassination attempt, or possible success. I don't know. Attempt is what I'm thinking. Following on from that is January the 11th. And I think if that happens to Donald Trump on January the 10th, then January 11th, North Korea may do a nuclear test in the Pacific Ocean. The nuclear test would wake up Kilauea. I think that would happen on the 12th. The reason I think that is because there may be an interpretation for the number 12, 1 and 2 just here, 1 and 2 just here. And that may be when Kilauea wakes up, but doesn't split. The Helena slump doesn't slide into the ocean and doesn't generate the tsunami on that day. I think that's just when it wakes up. Layer of interpretation here is, I think, when she's the Shiva Hindu goddess in this scene is stamping on the ground. There's a number 9 on the ground. Obviously, the other way around is number 6, and I think that is telling us a magnitude 9 earthquake, maybe in association with the nuclear test from North Korea being generated the next day. And I say that because if we've got a lunar 5 on George Bush, Donald Trump's eyebrow, and that is connecting to January the 10th, then the upside down 9 would be a 6, and that would be January the 11th, and upside down, that would be 9/11. So that could be a possible reference there. If both those things happen, then obviously that would affect the stock market, and I think that may be why they've used Shiva to give you Kali, to give you a line of symbolic interpretation, because they used Kali as a projection on the Empire State Building. The Empire State Building is a place where a lot of businesses are. There's 2,158,000 square foot of office space. It's crammed full of companies, large and small. Over 20,000 people work there. And I think that may be a symbolic representation of what we're getting here. Stock market, business collapsing. And that may be in association with Donald Trump and North Korea. Or there could be a separate direct attack on something like Wall Street, the World Trade Center, or the Empire State Building. The other ones I've mentioned in the previous video. Just before this scene, we have the words scrolling across in the boy's eyes. Let's wait for it to appear. The first word we see ends in anium or inium. So we're thinking uranium, plutonium, something radioactive and chemical-like. Then we get the markets plunging. So if North Korea has conducted a nuclear test in the Pacific Ocean, and that's following something happening to Donald Trump, then we have the markets plunging. This is scrolling across his eyes the same way it does on the news at the bottom of the screen. So it's possible that all these things are happening at the same time, and they're all being covered on the news at the same time, which is why we have war coverage following after, because obviously if America's in turmoil, I think certain people, certain actors will be looking to press their advantage in certain areas, and one of those areas may be in the Middle East. So you may see some conflicts with Israel and Iran, Syria, Turkey, Russia erupting in that region, and obviously continuing on, because there wouldn't be really anyone to kind of step in and say no if the United States is kind of dealing with its own national emergency. Which leads me on to this last scene here. Now, I already talked about the possible interpretation for it saying January the 11th, which may be when North Korea conduct their nuclear test if something happens to Donald Trump today, January the 10th. That is obviously the leaf on the apple, so on the apple we have the volcano, so it seems to be connected in some way, and that may be saying, as I've said, on January the 11th, the nuclear test wakes up Kilauea. Then we have the next interpretation, which is the 12th. And sorry, I messed up. January the 11th, the nuclear test causes the earthquake, which is connected to the volcano, but on the 12th is when it erupts. So time zone wise, probably 1 hour difference between, well, there is 1 hour difference between one day and the other. So January 11th, January the 12th, looking out for that nuclear test, waking up Kilauea scenario. Following on from that, I think the next date that should be of significance is January the 17th, and I haven't talked about that one yet. But the reason I think that is because I think it's referenced a few times. One here, 1 and a backwards 7. 1 down here, if you look really closely, you've got the potential for the number 7 backwards there and upside down, and the number 1 going across it. So again, number 17 just there. In the earlier videos that I was doing, where I was trying to see more of the video, you can see just down here there's an A, which is almost imperceptible in the normal video when you're playing it, unless you've got really high quality. But here you can see there's an A numerically that would represent the number 1, 1 and 7 together just there. Again, that's a reference to 17. Going back to, it will let me, no it won't, but on Obama's foot, the leaf from the apple, when it's closed, creates a mark across the number 7, which appears to be on Obama's foot here. So it again creates number 17, also creates an X and 7, so again that's a reference to number 17. And I think that is pointing to January the 17th. It's the 12th lunar month and the 12th lunar day, so the L reference being the 12, significant. The number 7 with the hidden A being 1 and the leaf shadow being 1 on Obama's foot, being a reference to 17. I think that's when Poseidon is used to create the tsunami for New York and the UK. Time references I think are given here as well, because we've got the earlier interpretations we gave, which was X and 5 in tally marks, which gives us the number 15. But this is in tally marks and this is in Roman numerals, so it may be that they are meant to be separate, which is giving you the reference to 5, which could be 5 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10, which could be 10 o'clock in the UK, which could happen because there's a 5-hour time difference between the two. Both of those places seem to be referenced, the Big Apple and the UK with the pound coin just down here. So 5-hour time difference between the two, 10 and 5 on the 17th. Poseidon drone, tsunami, while Kilauea is erupting but not yet split, because I think that happens 4 days later on the 21st during the blood moon, where we have Kilauea erupting and it then splits, causing the tsunami in the Pacific. And that may be represented by, again, multiple interpretations, not just 111 and 12 and 17, but also 21. So 2 on one side, 1 on the other side, 2 on one side, 1 on the other side. And that I think is connected to Kilauea and Mount Etna, as I've talked about, the volcano on the apple being a representation of the island next to a boot or a foot, which is the shape of Italy, Mount Etna, and obviously Kilauea connected to Hawaii through Obama. And not just that, but obviously the fact that, excuse me, if it will catch up, I don't know. But the fact that the roots from the seed create the number 8, and we've got the reference of 21 in the middle as well. So we've got a Hawaiian reference. They received statehood on the 21st of August, and that is my interpretation for, well, updated, new interpretation. Quick recap: January the 10th. January the 10th. Keep an eye out for Donald Trump down by the border. Possible assassination attempt. Someone named Jesus, Jose, something like that. We've obviously got the reference to the border wall, George Bush, Texas. So all of that is kind of in play at the moment. The Lunar 5 being January the 10th. All seems to be connected. The next day, North Korean nuclear test in the Pacific Ocean, earthquake. That may be like late at night on the 11th, so moving into the 12th, where it appears we have reference to Kilauea waking up, erupting, not splitting though. On the 17th, 5 days later, the Poseidon drone is used in the Atlantic, affecting New York and the UK. And then 4 days after that, the blood moon, well, what they'll say, you know, I'm just giving you what they'll say. The real things are nuclear devices and purposeful eruptions, but on the 21st, they'll say the blood moon caused Kilauea to erupt even more so, even more violently, splitting off the Helena slump, causing a tsunami, and the same for Mount Etna, causing a tsunami in the Mediterranean, affecting Egypt and, you know, Israel. Israel not so much, because they've just, you know, completed a tsunami border wall, and they also have a just posted last year tsunami warning signs all along their beaches. So for years before, they never had that concern, but in 2018 suddenly, you know, these things were implemented, and it could be that early in 2019 we see why. I hope nothing happens. Obviously, we've had the talk of the national emergency. We just got the national emergency text alert system installed in the United States. Donald Trump's going down to the border for the first time, which puts him, you know, in Texas, where George Bush is from. We've got the border and the wall reference. We have a board and a wall reference in this video. So I don't know if anything's going to happen, but I'm just giving you my interpretations, guys. Hope, pray. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.